I'm going to be doing the beginning of the year book tag. Now, I've seen a few creators do this, but I actually got the list of questions from Larry's video and her caption, so I've tagged her below. And I've also put all of these questions in the caption as well in case you want to give it a go. I will forever be a sucker for a book tag. Anything that involves answering questions, that is a bit of me because I like to yap. So grab a brew, grab a blanket, all of that good stuff, and let's get into the beginning of the year book tag for 2026. The first question is, how many books are you planning to read in 2026? And my year this year is all about slowing down. I am currently studying. I'm wanting to annotate more. I want to read a little bit more intentionally. And therefore, I have set my goal this year as 50 books. As somebody who usually reads over 100. Now, if I end up reading 100 or more, brilliant, fantastic, amazing. But I don't want to be racing towards some made up competitive goal and then rushing through books because I don't feel like I'm going to hit it. So I feel like if I set my goal lower, if I read more, that's fantastic. Nobody cares but me. So I think 50, less than a book a week is perfect. The second question is a book that you're likely to reread this year. And I'm going to go with Sunrise on the Reaping for this because the adaptation is out at the end of the year. I'm very likely to pick this book up again in October just to remind myself of all of those little details. And I also really, really want to annotate it. So I've got a feeling that I might try and annotate the entire series before rereading Sunrise on the Reaping. So let's just say the entire Hunger Games franchise. Then we have a priority read for my 2026 TBR. And I'm going with two here. So I really want to read James by Percival Everett. I tried to read Huckleberry Finn when I was younger, and I think I read it, but do I remember it? No. So I'm going to reread, but it's going to be like a first time read, Huckleberry Finn. And then hopefully we'll follow that up with James and see how that goes, because I've heard some incredible things about that book. Next up is an author that I am leaving behind in 2025. And for me this year, it has to be Alex Astor. Lilac was my first read of 2025 and I rated it 2 stars. The whole thing just grated on me and I was bored. And I didn't get the hype. I really don't like her writing style. So what is the point in me trying to read any of her other books, either in this series or outside of that, just to end up hating on it? One of these years, I will get a perfect 5-star year. That is the goal. Question number 5 is something new you want to read. And actually this year, I want to read more nonfiction. I've followed a lot more nonfiction creators this year across all the platforms. And there are some incredibly interesting sounding books. And I just want to be that disgustingly well-educated person. And what better way to do that than with a nonfic? One of my priority reads in that genre this year is actually a book called Monsters. What do we do with great art made by bad people? And I think this is so relevant in the kind of book community space. There are constant conversations around separating the art from the artist, which as of right now, my opinion is that you can't do that with anybody who is currently still profiting from their art. I think the rules change a little bit when creators of this art pass and are no longer benefiting directly from it. But it's a very complex conversation, and I'm really interested to see where this author goes with this conversation and whether it will change my mind on anything. Question number 6 is a popular book that you want to read, and that is finally The Just Sad Heir and its sequel. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but the amount of incredible things I've heard about this book, I am dying to read it, but there's something that's been putting me off. And I can't quite put my finger on it. And I think it's time. I think 2026 is the year. I did this last year with Babel. Babel was something I'd put off for so long. And it was one of my favorite reads of all time. And I'm hoping that the payoff and that kind of anticipation for the Just Add Air will have the same effect on me. Question number 7 is my most anticipated 2026 book release, and that is Innamorata by Ava Reid. I'm really sad that I did not get one of the arcs just yet. There's still time, Del Rey, if you want to send one my way. But Ava Reid is by far one of my favorite authors of all time. I read every single thing they write, and I'm just so excited for this. I cannot wait. Number 8 is a bookish goal for 2026, and I kind of touched on this previously, and that is I want to annotate at least one book a month. I've never really been an annotator. I have tried tabbing a few times. I am currently annotating a stage set for villains. This is my proof copy. This comes out in February, and I'm having so much fun doing so. I'm trying not to overthink it too much, and I'm just writing down random thoughts. Sometimes it's things I want to remember about the plot. Sometimes it's just silly little notes, such as #StaySassy is one that I've written in my current book. And I really want to, just like I said, read with more intention. I think annotating is a great way to do that. I'm also finding how much more I'm kind of retaining information in this book when things are coming up. You know, I started this just before Christmas, and I kind of went back to it a little bit today after taking a break. And because I'm annotating it, I can kind of flip back through my annotations and everything's instantly refreshed. And I just love it. I'm having so much fun with it. But yeah, my goal is by the end of the year to have annotated at least 12 books. Question number 9 is a book that's on your TBR that you probably won't read. And I'm gonna go with The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. This has been on my TBR, I want to say, about 3 years. I remember it really blowing up on Book Talk and everybody saying how brilliant it was and how much people loved it. But the longer it sat there, the more I'm realizing that it's probably not going to be my kind of thing, and I don't want to waste my time. I'm not that young anymore. I have limited life years in order to read books, and I just think if I've not been called to pick it up in 3 years, and every time I look at it, it doesn't even cross my mind to read it, then it's probably not the one for me. Question number 10 is a series that you want to read this year. And it's a bit of a cheat because I technically already started it, but it's Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, I think is how you say her name. I've got the books here somewhere. And I actually read the first 2 books in 2024. And I remember absolutely loving them. I rated them both 5 stars. I thought they were incredible. I was like, this is such a good series. And then I just never read the other 2 books. So I need to go back to the beginning. I need to reread the first 2 books in the series because I actually don't have any recollection of what happened in the second book. I kind of remember the first a lot more. So I would like to complete that series. It's a 4-book YA fantasy series. And when I do start it, what I'm going to tell myself is to read it back to back. I don't want the same thing happening again where I read 1, 2, or 3 of the books and then not finish the series. I want to read all 4 books back to back. So the next time I'm really in the mood for some deep diving and big world building and kind of a really good fantasy, that's what I'm reaching for. Question number 11 is, who are my auto-buy authors going into 2026? I could sit here all day. I have so many auto-buy authors. I discovered so many new incredible ones, but the ones that I'm going to be focusing on are the ones that have been auto-buy authors for the longest time. So the first 2 are actually friends of mine and I absolutely love and adore them. And both of them have sequels coming out this year. And that is Andy Darcy Theo and Bill Wood. Both write YA books, both very, very different. One is like a YA elemental fantasy. And then the other is like a Scooby-Doo 90s nostalgic YA thriller, and I love both. So they have both gone on auto-buy authors for me. I can't wait to see what they come up with when both their respective series are finished. I just think they've got a really good long career ahead of them in the YA world, and I'd also really like to see them maybe dip their toes into some adult books as well. Then we have my favorite authors. We have Frederick Backman, who literally has never let me down. We have R.F. Kuang, who just every single time I read one of her books, I feel like something changes in me and as a person, and I learn something about myself and I learn something about the world, and she just makes me feel more intelligent. We have Ocean Vyong, who is probably the newest one on this list. I read on Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous last year and just completely fell in love with it. I have The Emperor of Gladness on my TBR, and I definitely want to read that this year. I'm so excited. I have no idea what the story is about. I just know that I really like Ocean's writing. We have Ava Reid, obviously. I literally go feral for every single book that they bring out. The way that Ava's books always kind of link back to feminism and chaos and mental health, especially female mental health, I always just feel so incredibly seen when I read one of their books. And then another newbie on the list is BK Borison, who writes some of the best romance I've ever read. I read First Time Caller last year and I read Good Spirits. I'm really excited for the sequel to both of those books. And I really want to try Love Light Farms as well, because that's another well-loved series in the community and I'm so excited to see why everybody loves it so much. Question number 12 is a book to screen adaptation that I am excited for. There are so many. I have actually linked the video. I did a video on this last week about all of the book to screen adaptations that I am looking forward to. But I will have to say that my favorite, most anticipated book to screen adaptation is probably Sunrise on the Reaping, for obvious reason. I genuinely think that this is the book that I talk about the most across all of my platforms. The Hunger Games just has such a nostalgic, special place in my heart. I think it is insane that a book that was so relevant when I was a teenager can still be so relevant today. And the tiny little teaser clips that Lionsgate has been throwing out there, I just know that this movie is going to completely destroy me. And I'm ready for that. I am ready and waiting for it. Question number 13 is a sequel that I'm highly anticipating. And again, there's a few. So we talked about Bill Wood and Andy Darcy Theo. Both of them have sequels coming out this year. Bill Wood is One Last Scare. And I think this is going to be the final book in that series. So I am ready and waiting to see how that all wraps up and where the next story is going to go. And then the third book in Andy's series, 3 out of 4, I believe, and that is The Shadows That Find Us. Again, it left in such a way that I need to know what happens next. I need to know where the story goes, and I'm ready for it. I'm also super, super excited about Fury Bound, which is the sequel to Direbound. I completely fell in love with that book. Way more than I thought I was going to. I was so invested in the story. I have such a soft spot for Anassa, which is the dire wolf in this book. And I am ready for the next one. And kind of along the same vein is the sequel to Metal Slinger. This book proper took me by surprise because I thought it was going to be okay. I picked it up thinking, right, I'm in the mood for kind of a classic romantasy. So I'm going to read this one. And then I ended up I was so invested in it. So invested in it. And the way that first book ends, fantastic. I need the second book immediately. Question number 14 is bookish things that I'm leaving in 2025. And there's quite a lot on this list. The first one is not DNFing books that I'm not enjoying. And again, this goes back to kind of being a bit more intentional and less worried about a super high reading goal. And the fact that I only have so many years on this planet. There are millions of books out there. Why do I push through books I'm not enjoying? It's so incredibly frustrating. And I'm actually going to be really, really controversial here and say that I will be rating books that I don't finish. There are rules in the sense of I need to read at least 40% of the book in order to rate it. I think if I quit before that point, then I probably won't rate it. I will just shelve it. But to me, a DNF in a book that you've read 40% or more of is a review in and of itself. As always, I will follow the rules. I will never, ever, 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 ever tag an author in a negative review, especially a DNF. So that's that. But if I DNF a book after spending time getting through over 40% of it, you best believe I'm rating that book 1 star. For whatever reason that it deserves it. Another one is keeping books on my bookshelf that either I didn't like or I don't want to read. Like I have over 1,000 books in my house. I love that. I love having a library, but I need to be surrounded by joy. I need to be surrounded by books that make me happy. I'm going to be the Marie Kondo of books. It's as simple as that, and I'm leaving that there. Question number 15 is what to expect in 2026 from this account. So, kind of like housekeeping wise, I plan on posting 2 long form videos every week. I'm really trying to post shorts every day as well. So I will do that as much as I can. I'm quite a chatty person. So a lot of these videos are going to be me sat here talking to you on the camera because I like to chat, but I am going to try and get some vlogs in there, try and do things that are a bit different. I'm also going to be doing annotating with me videos, and I'm going to be doing read with me videos. I think those are really, really good. And I'm tempted to also do study with me videos. Like I said, I went back to university this year. It's completely remote, my course. So I have to really push myself to do all of my coursework at home, to do all of my essays and stuff at home. So I feel like study with me videos are a really good way to kind of help me focus. So definitely maybe expect a few of those, but I'm committed this year, every single year. This is my 3rd year, I think, attempting to be consistent on YouTube, and I usually do really well in January, February, March, and then it kind of goes downhill. Not this year. This year, I have already planned 5 months worth of content, which is obviously subject to change, but I have the ideas. I just need to find the time and have the patience to actually sit here and come and talk to you guys. Question number 16 is how your reading taste has evolved in the last year. And this is a really hard question for me because I don't think I know the answer. I have always had a really varied kind of taste in books. There's not a lot of genres that I don't read. I think the only thing is I'm very conscious of the fact that I want to read more sci-fi and that I want to be more intentional. I think that is the only way that these two have changed. I think over the last couple of years, I have spent less time reading just for fun and actually reading things that I think will benefit me in some way and will enrich my life experience in some way or will educate me in some way. So I think that's probably the biggest change that's happened over the last couple of years. But other than that, it's really hard to tell, because I am kind of a chaotic reader anyway, and I'm constantly changing what I want and how I read. Question number 17 is BookTube creators who inspire you. I'm going to stick my 4 favorites on the screen. These are all people that I have met or know in real life and just adore their content. They are my comfort creators. I will sit down every night. At the moment, I'm scrapbooking, and I will sit down to journal at the end of the day, and one of these creators will be playing on my screen. This is another thing I really want to get better at. I am terrible at interacting on YouTube. I think I use YouTube more as like a TV, and I very rarely interact, but I need to start showing love to my favorite creators, and you are going to see me in everybody's comments, guys. I am going to be there front and center, trying to talk to people. Yeah, I just definitely want to be more engaged across YouTube in general. So I'm hoping to find a lot more creators who I love and adore, but I would definitely recommend these 4 that you go and check them out if you don't already know. And the last one, and I really like this one, is something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a Bookish account. And honestly, my answer to this is to just do it. Don't worry about the aesthetics. Don't worry about whether you're reading enough or whether you're reading the right books. Just do it. Grab a camera. It can be your phone. Like, it doesn't have to be fancy equipment. Just grab your phone, start talking to the camera, pretend you're on FaceTime with your best friend, and just talk about the things that make you happy. Talk about the things that don't make you happy. Be controversial. Don't be controversial. As long as you are being yourself and you're being truthful, go for it. And it might be the best thing you've ever done. Picking up my phone and talking to people on Book Talk was the single best decision I made ever. Like, I have gained so much from it. I have gained an entire community around me, and I will just forever recommend it. So that is the end of the beginning of the year book tag. Like I said, all those questions are down there if you want to go and check that out. But I will be back on Thursday with another video. So my schedule from now on is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 on the dot. You guys can hold me to that. That is also when I'm going to be most active on the platform. So if you want to drop into the comments, you want to ask me questions, you want to just chat, that is probably when I'm most likely to be active. My other social medias are also LinkedIn. My DMs are always open across all of the platforms. My favorite thing about this community is getting to know people. So feel free to jump in there and say hi. And I will see you on Thursday for another video.